Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Tales from the Table Studios. We're finally back from hiatus with more dice trays action. Before we get started tonight, there is a couple things I want to go over, though not as many as there have been in the past couple of weeks. First, we just wrapped up the reproductive rights charity drive that we were running through July and August, and it was amazing. It was so much more incredible than I possibly could have imagined. We ended up raising $1,675 for the National Network of Abortion Funds, which is absolutely mind blowing. So, a huge thank you to everyone involved. I know I've done this already and I've said it to everyone, and I promise I won't keep doing it. But since this is our first episode back, I figure it can't hurt to do it one more time. Thank you to all of the amazing cast, crew, both everyone here from DTA, everyone who was a part of any of our other games, anyone who donated, anyone in the chat, anyone who helped us put anything together. Seriously, we love y'all. It meant so much. It really does mean a lot. You've helped a lot of people, and we can't say thank you enough. With that said, we may not have as many games running right now, but we've still got some cool games going, which we'll talk about in a second. Because also, if you want to talk to any of the amazing people in this game, or any of our other running games, or any of the games that were going on during the charity drive, you can, because we have a Discord now. It's really exciting. You can find the link to our Discord below in the About section. You can also go over to my personal Twitter at TheLionKnight42, where we have a link. Come hang out. Talk to us. Talk to other creators. There's a great community of people you can hang out with, chat with about anything, places for you to hang out. You can talk to creators, game designers, other actual play crew, things like that. We also are working on community nights, so that'll be really fun. We're going to be doing community game nights, so come on by, check that out. Next, we have some exciting games. We've got this game, which we're back to. We also have Rega on Thursdays at 8 p.m. EST, entering its second arc now. We finished the Tomb of Sorrows with the charity drive, but now we've moved into Rega, Shadow of the Dragon, so make sure to check that out. We're also going to have some really exciting announcements, probably in 2 weeks or so, which is really, really cool. And I can't wait to share that with y'all. But stay tuned for that. Okay. With that said, I don't think I forgot anything. Did I forget anything?
You can subscribe to the channel now.
Oh, yeah, we have a subscribe button. That's a thing. I forgot about that. You can subscribe to us. It's also September, right? So you get a discount if you wanted to sub. So that's cool. The discount comes out of Twitch's end, not our end. So if you like what we do, please feel free to do that. We're also putting together a Ko-Fi. So if you like what we do, you'll be able to throw us a tip on there. You can subscribe, I think is the term they use over there. Let us know that you like what we do. You're going to be able to get really cool looks behind the scenes if you do. We're going to be doing post-game shows with the cast of each of our shows, just 15 to 20 minute episodes where we talk about things from the past episode and things beforehand and just go into cool stuff. You'll also get access to some of the outtakes and reshoots from things like Takes from the Table, which will be coming soon, and Roll for Perspective, which is another show that will be coming back very soon. So do that. You'll also have access sometimes to notes from the various DMs, GMs, and more who run games here at Tales from the Table Studios, which you can use in your own games and use as insight to improve your own games or skills. I don't know why I said that twice in two different ways, but you know what I meant. Anyway, with that said, I think I've gone over everything. So now it's time to get to Dice Trays action. Real quick, why don't we go around and remind everyone who we all are and who we're playing, and then I'll hit the recap. Joe, why don't we start with you?
It's me. It's Joe. I'm Toby. And I don't know what else we want to know about Toby. I'm a Polar Ursine monk, and he's a little confused by this situation, but he might be about to help some people rob someone.
Jeff, why don't we do you next?
I'm Jeff from Banana Arms in the Twitch chat. I'm going to be playing Rory, the Lavion inventor. This is a bad idea.
Also, just to put Jeff on the spot a little bit, Jeff is also our editor. So, like, a huge special thank you to you for all the amazing work that you've done over the course of the charity drive. and all of the amazing work you do going forward, because I will never let you have a moment's rest. Kunskapssucker, why don't you go next?
I am the Eye, also known as Kunskapssucker, the druid cleric from way up north. Mysterious in their ways and eccentric in their everyday life.
Jen, why don't you go next?
I am Jen, also known as Aksha. I am a kobold sorcerer, soon to be dragon, looking for someone who murdered my mentor. And I met all these wonderful people on our adventures.
Deeply appreciate the slight pause before wonderful. Fair. And Kay, why don't you round us out?
Okay, also known as Miss Moon. I'm going to be playing Girna, who is the Veep Boop, and may or may not be very good at picking locks. So hopefully that helps. She has robbed lots of dead people, so now we're robbing living people. It can't be that different.
And I know you have a Twitter now, right?
Yep, it's Miss Moon, which should be down there. Or I don't know if that's how that works now, but yes.
Yeah, it'll be down there. Also one of our fantastic artists. So most of the cool stuff that you see from our character cards and stuff like that comes from this amazing person. Okay, so with all that done, let's get to the action part. Recently, the group of you have come together after some strange happenings within the city and some unfortunate disappearances to investigate what's been going on. That investigation has led you to a number of places so far, including getting Toby a fan. Let's call her a fan, a fan of Toby's, as well as getting you in with Galbraith Runelith, the Hand, who it seems plays a large role in the underbelly of the city itself, and who has offered you the opportunity to gain some information that would be prudent to your search if you were to do a favor for him. After some debate and some discussion, the group of you agreed to do so, which meant scoping out the museum up in the Amber District of the city, which is a closed off district that you generally only have access to by having a significant amount of coin. Lucky for the group of you, you found an inroads with Baron Jacob Hadley, who's a large, both in stature and influence, member of the city, and unfortunately also has been a victim of one of the case of the disappearing peoples, as his son is seemingly one of the first people to go missing. After finding out that the group of you had been looking into this, he offered whatever help he could, including lodgings at his home, which most of you, except for Kunskapssucker, took up on. So as you went to the museum, found some pretty interesting stuff. Girna fell in love with some adorable little snowball creatures, and after a conversation with the local mice, the group of you went back to Galbraith's and told him that the plan is on for the next night. From there, the group of you retired to rest, and as we rejoin you, it is now the 23rd of Green Spring. The sun is high in the sky as you awaken. It's a warm day, the light breeze sort of blowing by. Kunskap, you probably are the only one fully aware of that, as everyone else is resting in a nice, lush, large, probably one of the softest beds you've ever slept in, complete with windows looking out over the city. But first, we will rejoin Kunskapssucker as they awaken to this gentle, warm breeze sort of blowing in through the flaps of your tent, rousing you to the new morning.
Kunskap Soka will rise from the bed and, for a brief moment, raise their mask to rub their eyes before pulling it back down. And they begin to move, gathering their things, looking up at the sky once they leave their tent, saying a brief prayer before throwing a pack of supplies over their shoulder and starting to move back towards his companions in the more lush part of the city.
I like it. Now, for the rest of you, does anyone double up, or are you each taking your own room?
We were afforded our own room, right?
You were
Like,
you were
we all-
all given your own rooms. So it is entirely up to the group of you if anyone wants to double up or if you just want to have your own rooms. The options are there.
Someone asked if Rory would just take his own room, I think.
Are all the rooms in like the same guest wing sort of area?
Yes, yeah. They're all in the same. You're almost like when you stay in an inn, you're only a couple doors down from each other at any given point. The doors between you are rooms that either have not been kept in particularly good shape or are like living areas and like guest quarters to socialize in rather than to sleep in.
Would it be possible for Girna to just stand in the hallway all night?
Sure.
Because
Yeah, absolutely.
She doesn't actually need to lay down. She just becomes inert for a while.
Would
And
she
this
be
way-
comfortable with the Baron just possibly walking around and seeing her just standing in the hallway like the twins from that?
From The Shining.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which thankfully the Baron has no idea what that is.
I assume she looks like a weird suit of armor just kind of hanging out.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that way she can keep watch on her companions while they rest.
As they're moving towards the main part of the city, I think Kunskap would reach out to their feather friends if they're about. It's been a few days since Kunskap sent one of them to get word back from town. They want to hear if there's been any word back.
Sure. Give me one moment. Okay. So, for our newer viewers, or just to freshen people up, can you just very quickly remind us what it was that Kunskap sent word of?
Kunskap was wondering if there had been any word of other of his people in this area. They have found it awfully odd that there has been, in the places that Kunskap would check to see signs or symbols that they were trained to leave in case others came along. There has been none, and for a major city, that is kind of odd.
Okay. So, after a moment, there is sort of a flapping of wings that you hear echoed by a few others as just sort of a flock of, I believe they were ravens, correct?
Correct.
Ravens just sort of fly past overhead. Most just moving on about their day, but one sort of cuts its wings inwards and begins a light swoop down towards you, Kunskap, and it comes to rest. If you have like an arm outstretched or anything, it will land there. Otherwise, it will probably take up residence upon one of the horns on your mask.
Which one is this? Is this beak or feathers?
This is Feathers.
Uh,
And Feathers lands and sort of like shakes himself off a bit and then sort of looks at you.
Well, Feathers, any news from home?
They think it's strange that you are so alone. But perhaps there are reasons beyond our comprehension. And you will
What
find
is-
the answer.
When is the last time they got word from this area of the world? Do you
You,
know? Well, besides me.
it has been 14 years since last we have heard from one here.
Interesting.
Too long, too long. But why?
Do you... Hmm. Well, thank you, Feathers. Anything else from home?
Have you been dreaming?
I dream often.
Good. Good.
Do they wish to know what my dreams are?
As long as your dreams, it is fine. It is how they guide us, they say. It is when they stop that we worry.
They have not stopped for me.
Good. Good.
Thank you, Feathers.
Mm,
Are you and your flock well fed?
mm. There are many hills with much to find and feed upon.
Good. If that changes, let me know.
And then he sort of like puts his head out and sort of like thrusts it at you a little bit.
Reach up and scritch the birdie. Thank you, brother.
Yes, good luck on your journey. And with that, he sort of hops off.
Kunskap will watch the flight for a moment, almost having the urge to join them if they could, but will continue to walk down the streets, a lone, shadowed figure in this bright morning day.
Well, and the streets are very busy, very packed. People running back and forth. Occasionally, you hear the just passing by talk of the upcoming Prosperity Day and how busy things are in the church and people wanting to get their blessings in and things of that sort. Nothing that stands out really, but noticeable talk. Now, going back over for a moment. So Girna, you said you're standing guard all night.
Yep.
Okay. You're aware of what's going on around you when you're resting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. There's absolutely a moment during the night where Yodel is just like walking down a hall and stops and looks over at you and sort of like turns his head and is like, what the fuck? And oh, go ahead.
Just motionless, you know.
And after a moment, he just sort of like shakes his head and walks off. And you can hear as he like goes down the hall, he's just like, there's the weirdest fucking people around all the goddamn time. Okay, so for the rest of you then, I assume as we discussed, nobody doubled up. So Jen, why don't you tell us what Aksha's morning is like?
Aksha doesn't sleep too much, in small bouts, but he does rest for a little while and then kind of scours through his master's book some more in his spare time before he gets up early, goes out into the hall.
And the first thing you'll see as you get out into the hall is Girna
Edna.
just sort of standing there.
Aksha will walk up to her, rubbing one of his big eyeballs. Good morning, Gerna. Good morning. Yes?
Irna will turn just her head and look down. Good morning.
Did you rested well, yes?
Yes, I had a very good night.
Very good. Very good. This place is oddly quiet at night.
Not very much happened.
No. Everyone else still sleeping?
It does seem that way. How was your night?
Restful, yes. Bed's much too soft. I like rocks. But it was nice. I read my book some more. Maybe you could help me with it later. I have some thoughts on it, and I might need some help.
Well, then I would be happy to be of assistance.
That would be great. Thank you.
So, heading towards Toby. What's Toby's morning look like?
Toby is very much a long and sound sleeper, especially since this is the softest bed Toby has ever slept on.
By far.
Ever. By far. Combined with like his nightcap and everything, he has had the best night sleep. So he's gonna awaken. There's a window in the room.
Yeah, yep.
So he would awaken shortly after the sun, whatever angle it is, would come in through the window, but just like slowly wake up. And it's not much for him to do, but he'll hear this conversation out in the hall, which isn't so far away, and be like, oh, well, the others must be up. And Toby's going to assume he's the last one up. So he's going to go out to join them in the hall. And when he sees them talking, he doesn't want to interrupt them. He's like, hello, good morning, friends.
Good morning.
Toby in front of or behind them?
You're up against the wall, but like the back to the door, or like down
She
the
was standing
hall?
like center of the hallway.
Oh, okay. So I'll say that I'm behind you, but Aksha would be more like looking at me.
Okay, so Girna's gonna turn just her torso.
Mm.
Good morning.
Good morning. Toby still thinks Girna is a ghost and did not know that they could do that. And Toby's gonna walk closer to you and just kind of like lean in and say, I am always impressed by you.
Thank you. That is very kind of you to say.
And then he's gonna lean over and look toward Aksha and be like, and you, little one, you are most impressive as well.
Aksha kind of preens himself. Yes, thank you, friend. Yes, you're mighty impressive as well. So tall, so big.
Thank you, but we have seen what you will become. Big dragon, yes.
Oh, yes.
Very big.
Aksha's very, very anticipative of this moment. Yes. It'll be great.
Yes.
And looking over to Brory, what's Brory's morning like, Joe?
Taking a bit to get up. Not really an early bird. Eventually coming out into the hallway, I guess. Seeing everyone just crowded around each other. Did something happen? Why are we all out here?
Good morning, Rory. Oh, I just came out and said hello to Gerna. And then Toby came out and I said good morning to Toby.
Yes, good morning, Rory.
Good morning.
Today is a big day.
Yes. That will
Or
surely go well.
I hope you are well rested.
As rested as I can be.
So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, Do the group of you have any plans for the day? Obviously, we know that the plan is tonight to make your way to the Ember Gaze and procure something for your at least temporary ally. But what is your plan for today?
So it's been a little bit for timing, but I left my dead fish with Kana at the Bottle and Gold,
Yep.
and I was told to come back, but I'm forgetting if it was like exactly how many days to come back.
I believe it was 2 days, so it would be tomorrow.
Okay. So
right,
not on the agenda for me.
I believe so. I will double check that, but I believe that's tomorrow.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything they want to do or any ideas for what you would like to occupy your day with?
Honestly, I think the best thing we can do with the day is just be restful because we've got a lot to do in the dead of night.
You, Girna, be restful. Don't fight someone.
Sure. If that's what y'all want to do, that's absolutely fine. There's so a couple minutes after you all awaken and are out in the hallway having this conversation, Yodel sort of pops his head out from around a corner and goes, "The master says when you are ready, there's breakfast waiting for you in the main hall."
Irna very quickly rights herself as soon as he pops up.
Just
Yes.
whenever.
I guess I'll follow him.
Same. Toby is not passing up breakfast.
Oh, food, yes. Actually, like.
There's a moment when the group of you begin moving towards him where you can see him actively, like, physically tense up. And then after a moment or two, he just sort of and he turns and he starts leading you. Girna, are you going with them?
No, I don't feel like making an excuse to not eat today, so I think that Girna's gonna hang back.
Okay, and just hang out in the hallway more.
I'm just gonna go explore the guest quarters.
Okay, sure. So for the rest of you, as you're being led to the hall, Yodel explains that the Baron will not be present for breakfast. Very, very late last night, a very important guest showed up that he's going to be dealing with for the day. So you probably won't see him very much today. And Yodel respectfully requests, as respectful as Yodel can word it, respectfully requests that the group of you stay away from certain parts of the house where the Baron is going to be with his guests so that they can conduct their business in peace. Because, it's the Baron was nice enough to let the group of you stay here. It would be a awful slight to ruin his social or business appointments after that. But eventually he does get you to the like dining hall where there is just laid out all sorts of foods. You've got like bacons and sausages and breads and fruits and there's some like fish that's been laid out and it all smells very fresh and there's soft breads and hard breads and just sort of there's oatmeals and everything you could really ask for is there. And Yodel's just sort of like, help yourself. And before you get a chance to respond or say anything to him, he's already just like gone. He immediately just like nopes away from you as fast as he can.
I was going to ask him if the library was off limits, but I guess he was busy.
He didn't say it wasn't.
Suppose.
No, he's not around for this speech. Sorry. He's just gonna go wander the goddamn house.
Oops. And Toby is helping himself to a little bit of everything for breakfast because there is not a single thing that you listed that he does not want some of.
Yeah, and there's just all kinds of breakfast foods, things that like Toby, you've probably never seen before because they're just not things that you find anywhere up in the north, but like all of it is just
But fresh fruit and bread and meat and fish? What? You're not catching Toby going hungry at any point in time in this campaign. I've learned my lesson.
Moving back over to Kunskap for a moment, and then we'll get to Girna, you exploring guest quarters. So Kunskap, you reach the Amber Gates, and the faces that guard it are not familiar. They're not people that you've seen before, but they give you very little hassle getting through. I assume you still have the parchment that has like all your information. And after a moment of confirmation, they sort of wave you through. Are you going straight to the Barrens? Is there anywhere else you plan to stop, or?
I believe that Kunskap would go straight to the Baron.
Okay, yeah, and so it's a bit of a walk, but you get there, and I assume you sort of like knock on the door or whatnot. There's a knocker. It
Yeah.
takes a moment, and eventually Yodel reaches the door and he opens it. And he probably couldn't look less enthused. Just seeing his face, it's very clear that he's not particularly pleased. And he goes, "Oh, it's you. Your friends are they're eating. You can. I'll take you to them. Come on."
Blessings, thank you. I have a question.
Mm,
Have you ever been afflicted by good manners?
well, I find that when somebody shows up and respects the rules of the home that they are in and doesn't cause emotional trauma for my master. But yes. But when unfamiliar faces show up treading in muck and wetness and then bring up pain best left forgotten, somehow my manners seem to slip. It's a strange occurrence.
So if something ever was to come up of the Baron's son, you would rather it completely be silenced.
I would rather that the Baron, who is a busy and good man, who has gone out of his way for the city on many occasions, not be caused more hurt by something that will more likely than not end with the same unanswered questions. You will forgive me if I am not completely sold on the idea of you and your people showing up and magically promising to find something when the best of the guard could not.
The head of Kunskap cocks, and they just kind of stare down at the host and says, "You are forgiven," and continues to walk.
Oh, good. And in silence, he sort of leads you to the dining hall and pushes the door open and just leaves.
Greetings, my friends.
Good morning, Kunskap.
Yes, good morning, friend.
Morning.
Kunskap wanders to the opposite side of the table and sits down, grabs a large sausage for themselves and kind of just feeds it underneath the mask. They seem perturbed and deep in thought.
Does something bother you, Kunskap?
I got word from home. It seems that my kind has not been here for over a decade, which is not completely unheard of. The wanderings of my kind are not planned, and therefore a single place can go without a visit for quite some time. But I would say on average, a city like this would be visited once every, at most, 5 years. More than a decade is odd.
There are many of your people?
The numbers are unknown, but yes,
So it seems particularly worrying that many have not come in so long.
it is.
I am sorry. Aksha will help you in any way to help find family. Aksha knows what it's like to not find family. So,
It is not about finding family, but more of why my people have either not reported from here or there is such a lack of knowledge that, which is also very odd. A city like this would have knowledge of itself, but
I see.
the other thing that perturbs me was in my conversation with Feathers, they asked me specifically about my dreams,
Oh,
which, again, although not completely odd, does strike me as an interesting query from my homeland. I'm
Huh.
wondering if something else is happening.
Curious. Dreams. Aksha has dreams too. Are they important for dreams?
To my people, yes.
I see.
So
I'm glad you were dreaming.
at this point, we're going to shift focus for just a moment over to Girna. Girna, you said you're exploring the guest quarters. Are you focusing primarily on the rooms that you and your companions have, or are you just
Kind of exploring. We've been told that we basically have free reign of the place, or at least as far as Girna's aware, they have free reign of the place, and it's been a long time since she's been anywhere so opulent. So she's taking the time to enjoy the trappings and all that.
sure? So you're not like looking for anything. You're just sort of walking around, taking in the.
Yeah, she's not trying to be like Snoop on their host. She's just trying to, get the lay of the land.
Sure. So yeah, opulent is definitely the best word for it. This place is decked out to the nines. I mean, you're well aware that the Baron's family were a big part of the founding of South Reach, so that's not really any surprise. But even just the paintings that sort of line the walls tell that story as well. Just pictures of different people who have just enough familiar features, qualities to their faces that you can tell that they're definitely relatives of the Baron, whether they be ancestors or cousins or whatnot. You obviously can't really say, but there's also just paintings of ships that you assume likely were in the employ of the Baron's family, either now or at some point. If you are you planning to like go into any of the rooms, or are you just wandering the halls?
Like go into some of the rooms.
Okay. Are you actively avoiding the rooms of your companions?
Uh, yeah, I figure that's kind of their space for that time being, so I'll leave that alone.
Sure. Why don't you roll me a d6?
Sure. As soon as I can grab one.
That's our first rollback. Yay.
Four.
Okay. So the first door that you try, just twisting it opens, and inside looks like an immaculate bedroom. It's very similar to the ones that you saw when you were given your room, not that you used it. But the primary difference is kind of just the layer of dust that's sort of accumulated over it. It doesn't seem like there's more than just the one person taking care of this house, and it's a very large house, so it's understandable that not everything is going to be maintained exactly so at all times.
That does strike Girna as kind of odd.
Just a bit, yeah. But there's definitely like a noticeable sheen of it across the bedspread and by like the window, and everywhere that there is a surface, there is some dust that's just sort of lingering. But other than that, the room looks very much like I said, the room that you'd been in before. There are different paintings on the walls, but they're sort of covered with the same sort of like a deep but flat red, sort of, with more like ashen wooden, just like working put through the center and then running down towards the floor.
Yurna's little eyebrows will tick down a bit as she's frustrated that she cannot blow the dust away.
Yeah. And I assume you're just going to spend some time wandering.
Yeah,
Right.
she's just wandering the home.
Yeah. And most of the are you staying in the guest wing, because that's what you had said before, but I don't know if that's still the intent.
Once she's sort of satisfied that she's seen the basics of the guest wing, she'll probably wander elsewhere.
Okay, great. Roll me a percentile and let me know what that is.
Sure. That is a 16.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you're just going to be wandering the house for a while as your friends eat. Most of what you come across is not particularly exciting, intriguing, or out of place. You do stumble across what looks like a small sort of personal library. You do eventually find a door that is locked. You sort of jiggle the handle a bit, and you can feel the locking mechanism that holds it in place. And it's just, yeah.
I'm gonna leave that alone. You know, we're being hosted here. I'm not an asshole, so I'm gonna, leave that space alone.
Sure. So you continue walking, and eventually you hear very muffled voices off in the distance. One you can tell pretty quickly is definitely the Baron's. The other one seems sort of hushed, just a bit. You're not sure if by design or just naturally so, but you are still far enough away that you can't really make out what they're saying, just that there is clearly a conversation being held in the direction ahead.
Well, that's our host, and I'd like to say good morning, so I'm gonna casually walk over in that direction.
Sure, absolutely. So you begin to approach, and as you get closer, it becomes a little easier to hear the Baron, at least, if not the other individual, because as you've heard before, the Baron is a rather loudly spoken individual. So as you get closer, you hear, the delays are not things that we can control. It's going to have to work the way it does. And if that's not good enough for your masters, then they can come approach me directly. And the response, again, is sort of in this soft voice that you just aren't close enough to hear.
Yurna kind of stops because this is clearly a conversation that is not meant for her. She kind of pauses there for an instant because she's curious.
Sure.
But then after a moment or two, she'll start to back away.
Sure. So the last things you'll hear before you move yourself out of earshot again are, after this whispered voice has stopped, you hear the Baron go, I am doing what I can to ensure efficiency, but it doesn't change that what you are asking is impossible, especially now. And that's the last thing you hear as you get out of earshot. With that, what I'm going to do for the sake of time is sort of push us forward a little bit. So the group of you finish your breakfast. There's nothing else you really, I don't know if you keep exploring after that, but if you do, there's a couple of rooms, nothing out of the ordinary. You find like a small study. You find like a sort of like small library. You find obviously the toilets.
Is there any chance that there might be anything Cursian in the like maybe a imported trinket or?
You haven't seen anything Cursian, no.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
she'll just kind of leave things alone.
Yeah, it's not particularly surprising. Cursia, being how it is not usually pretty big on trinkets getting out that aren't inherently like sold through the Doorwind guilds.
Mhm.
So very rarely will someone come across one that's not actively trying to pick one up, but that's also not always true because it's not how the world works.
Or I just figure like the nobles and stuff, the little wind up guys are pretty cool.
Oh
Just,
yeah, yeah.
study pieces,
Yeah, no, absolutely. It also is, the other side of the continent, and it's entirely possible
sure.
that the Baron hasn't gone out that far. Especially with Southreach being on the water, a lot of his business is probably in the immediate surrounding cities within Lysantis, and then across the sea wherever they do business from there. So I going to say that the group of you sort of meet up. You find yourself sort of walking into the dining hall at about the time everyone's starting to finish eating. You guys have some time to just sort of relax and hang out today. Again, if there's anything in particular anyone wants to do, let me know. Otherwise, what I think we're going to do is we're going to move forward through the day towards more of the evening to get to the heist. Is there anything that anyone would like to go over or do?
I
Okay.
believe not.
Okay. Great. So then, the sun sets, the evening descends. The group of you have not come across the Baron since Girna, your accidental overhearing of earlier, and Yodel sort of makes a point to keep his distance wherever possible, except for the occasional moment where he sort of guides the group of you away from the area that the Baron is currently occupying, citing that he's busy with business. But from here, what do y'all want to do?
When are we supposed to meet with our contact?
Yeah.
Well, based on the time, the museum should be closing in the next 20 or so minutes. It's an easy walk to go over, and then from there, you theoretically should be allowed in and be able to go.
Right at closing?
Uh, what?
Like right at closing?
No, right after closing. But
Hmm.
yes,
So like nightfall ish.
yes.
Okay.
Do we all want to? I mean, would leaving this estate all at once be wise? Should we all go together all at once, or
We are a very inconspicuous group.
yes?
The museum is visible from Baron's mansion, if I'm right.
Correct, yes.
I can go over and look for the contact, and if I see him, I can give you guys a signal to come over.
It's not that close. Like it's not like you could just sort of like wave your arms. It's visible, but it's still a little bit of a walk. It's a couple minutes.
Anybody have
Well,
a
if I
looking
had
glass?
like a light that I could like turn on, would they see it?
Maybe.
This is after nightfall, and
But it's
But so would anyone else.
yeah, it's the kind of thing that you would probably want to check. Maybe it would be very faint, but it would potentially work.
Why don't we all just go?
okay.
The next best option might be to just stagger when we leave, but that may be delaying what we need to do.
Be weird to the Baron.
Has anyone even seen the Baron today?
No.
Yodel sort of like peeks up from behind a wall. Gonna have to speak up a little bit.
We're going to have to do something about Yodel.
What do you suggest?
Hmm. Perhaps something to keep him preoccupied while we leave?
I don't think that he is going to follow us if we leave the home.
Is there anything that Gierna would have seen while she was wandering that she could potentially knock over and have him spend some time fixing it?
Plenty of stuff you can knock over and break. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to break. I want to maybe disassemble.
Okay, like what?
Mm.
Pitch me. Tell me what it is that you would like to break down.
Well, plenty of places like this have suits of armor in the hallways and stuff like that. Could I potentially push one of those over and have it come apart? Because like it won't break, but the pieces will no longer be together.
Most of the time when those display suits are set up, the armor is sort of like connected to the pieces are sort of connected. So knocking it over will like cause a ruckus, but it wouldn't take. He's kind of small, so it may take him a little while to stand it back up. But he wouldn't really need to assemble much beyond putting the helmet back.
What if I disassembled it?
Sure. It'll be really hard to sell as an accident, but absolutely, you could take the time and like pull it apart if you wanted to. Sure.
Okay. That's an idea. I will keep it in mind.
So, are we ready to leave, or is there something anyone would like to do?
No, I think Aksha ready.
Toby
We
is
should do
ready.
this.
All right. Well, Kunskap leaves, and as soon as they're through the door and everyone is out of the door, it will start walking towards the museum. I suppose. Is that where we're meeting this individual?
That's
Before
right.
they leave, Yerna's looking for Yodel. And if he's in the area, she's going to, I don't know, not leave.
Roll me perception.
Three, 14.
Taking a moment to look around, you don't see Yordle or Yordle's shadow anywhere. Yodel or Yodel's shadow anywhere. I can't speak.
Okay, then we're good to go.
So, Kunskap, what did you say you were doing once everyone was out?
I was toying with the idea of casting a spell, but I'm going to wait till we get to the museum.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we're looking for the dude.
So the group of you proceed towards the museum. The streets are pretty tame, not exceptionally busy, which, to be fair, you've come to sort of understand is not all that surprising considering things. Here in Ambergate, most things close after dark. The wealthy are more than happy to retreat to their comfortable homes and comfortable lives and ensure that things like crime or danger are kept to a minimum. That's all best done in the light. But eventually, you do reach the museum, and outside, you see standing there with what looks like a rolled bit of tobacco hanging from their lip, a gray Maliko who just sort of is leaning back against one of the front-facing walls of the museum, and he sort of like pulls it from between his lips. He looks over at the group of you, and he sort of like quirks his head a little bit, and he puts it back in his mouth, and just watches the group of you.
Was this the person we were supposed to meet? Aksha does not know.
We were not given many descriptives. just to meet here.
Just gonna walk over.
As you get closer, he sort of like pulls it back out from between his lips and he looks at you and he goes, I'm sorry, the museum is closed.
Oh, that is a shame.
Yes. So many interesting things. Ah, you'll just have to come back tomorrow.
I don't think we have enough time to come back tomorrow.
Ah, perhaps for the right price, I can get you a express ticket to some of the more interesting items.
My understanding, a price has already been paid for such luxury.
The price has been paid for me to be willing to sell these tickets. But a price paid to one man does not fill my pockets, no?
Kunskap's eyes begin to glow red. Are you sure the hand is an individual that you wish to annoy in this?
Why don't you roll me an intimidation and I'll give you advantage on it.
Intimidation? Who,
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
It's a 20.
Oh. Okay. I'm just fucking with you. I didn't realize you take it so personally. I'm sorry. Relax. He looks around a bit and goes, okay. So here is the deal. There will always be protective individuals roaming the halls. It's inevitable. They live here. But it is not true so much in the basement, which, if my understanding is correct, is where you are looking to go.
Yes.
So, we will go in. I will pull attention towards myself, and the group of you will be able to advance. However, and he reaches into a pocket and he pulls out a small white, it looks like a rock, just about yay big. And he hands it to you, Kunskap, because you are the closest one to him. He goes, when you are ready to leave, assuming you have not made too much noise, crush this, and I will ensure that you have the opportunity to slip out unnoticed. If you do cause a lot of noise, then you are on your own.
Noise shall not be an issue. And Kunskap casts pass without a trace on all of their companions.
Great. So do you want to tell us exactly how that works?
All individuals within 30 feet of Kunskap will have a +10 to their stealth rolls, as well as cannot be traced by anyone except by magical means, as well as no one will leave any tracks as they walk.
That is ballin', especially for Girna, who is very noisy.
You have
Right.
disadvantage on your skill checks, right? Or on your stealth checks, right?
On myself, yes, I do.
Okay, just making sure. So what does that look like? Can you tell us a bit about when they cast that, like how that looks and if it how that makes people feel?
As Kunskat begins to trace runes in the air, the runes themselves hold themselves in the air for a second before dropping down to the ground, and each one reaches out and moves to each individual, and kind of clasps each foot like a glowing moccasin before the light just fades away.
Oh, very impressive.
Wow. Very impressed.
And even if you like jump up and down, there's no noise.
Toby would try that at least twice.
That does not look like something you would have learned at the school.
School?
The academy. Sir, surely you cannot be in Lysanthus and not know.
I know of it. I have not gone.
How strange. Thieves and practitioner.
Gonna tilt her head as she can't hear her own ticking anymore.
Oh, that must be very strange. How does Gina feel about that?
Concerning. It's the first time she's ever worried about, am I dead? Maybe I am a ghost.
All right.
And by the way, that lasts for an hour.
Great.
And it is a concentration spell, so I shall have to keep that in mind.
It is concentration? Okay, cool. So,
If we're in here for longer than an hour, we're in trouble.
so, is there anything anyone needs to do or ask or to go over before we go in? Because once we step inside, I will not see you again until it is time to leave.
Are you leading us straight into the basement?
I am going to lead you to the stair. And then I will take my leave so I can be the distraction you need. And you will go from there. As I've said, there should be no guardsmen down in the basement itself. They really only go down there to take things for displays.
I have heard, that there is something living down there, some sort of beast.
Yes. Well, I have never been down there myself. I cannot say I've heard stories of anything.
As we simply keep our fingers crossed.
Well, lead the way then.
Yes. Good luck to you all. And he, instead of taking you through the front door, he sort of leads you guys around the building. It takes a couple of minutes to walk it, and then he pushes on what looks like just another part of the stone, and it depresses, and he slides it across. And he ushers the group of you in, and he comes in behind you, pulling the door shut. The room that you find yourselves in is not one you recognize. It looks kind of like it a little bit looks like kind of the other display rooms, but there's nothing on display here. He takes you to the other side of that room and he opens the door, peers out for a moment, and leads you into the hallway, which is recognizable. It becomes pretty clear that this was one of those locked doors that you encountered on the first floor. He leads you over and stops you just before reaching the corner by where the stairs are. He goes, I will go, and you will hear me. And when you stop hearing me, then you will move. Yes?
There's still
Yes.
Good. And then he just sort of like strolls outwards, which is a complete shift from his sort of like very careful actions getting here. Strolls out and you hear him just sort of like exclaim out towards other people, and he just begins carrying on a conversation, which after a minute or two turns to the frustration over the growing infestation of rats and mice that seem to be taking over the museum. One of the guards that he's talking to is very upset about this and just sort of shouts about it a bit. He's like, "Well, if you want to see it, yeah, I'll take you to it. Maybe you can do something about it." And the guard's just like, "Well, if I got the option, I just burn them out." And he's like, "Yeah, but there's too many things here for you to do that." And the conversation just sort of trails off, and it gets quieter and quieter, and eventually they're gone. Now, because it has been a little while, I will remind you that upon casting Detect Magic the last time you were here, there was a
Abjuration and divination effects.
correct on the stairs themselves. Just, because again, it's been a while and I wouldn't fault anyone for forgetting. There, I'm going to leave this to you. What's the marching order and what would you guys like to do?
Well,
Who shall lead?
Rory would probably be in the front, or one of the people in the front.
Makes sense.
Shall I bring up the rear?
I'll go behind Rory.
She'll be in the middle.
Kunskap is going to. Should I do this now or later? Kunskap is going to turn into a spider.
Ooh. Just like a normal, like, tiny spider?
Like, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Whoa.
Describe what that looks like.
It looks like a black widow, save for instead of a timepiece on the abdomen, it is the mask.
I love it.
Cool.
So do
Did
they
we
just
see this? Did we see this, or did we turn and you were just gone?
No, you would have. I would have been probably in the front when this happened.
Okay.
is it like smooth? Do they just sort of like begin shrinking down and changing shape, or is this more of like a harsh sort of like?
No, it's pretty smooth.
Okay,
They've been
cool.
doing it for a while.
Awesome. Okay. And as a spider, are you just sort of going about yourself? Are you going to climb on someone? What is?
They are going to start going. So it's downstairs, right?
Yes.
And on either side is like a stone wall.
Mm-hmm.
Kunskap is going to traverse down the stairs, but along the wall sideways.
Ooh, okay. Very interesting. Sure. And what of the rest of you? So then
Just a question.
Oh yeah.
What are the dimensions of the staircase?
It's like 5 feet wide by like by like 8 or 9 feet tall.
Okay.
So just to confirm, so Kunskap, then you're technically in the lead, right? Because you would be
Correct.
skittering ahead before. Okay. So what do the rest of you do? Are you just going to follow down the stairs?
Don't have anything to dispel magic, do we?
Well, yeah. Also, Brory is taking point, right?
Rory is taking.
Yeah, I guess we'll head down the stairs, I guess.
Okay. Cool. So
No one has any dispel magic stuff, right?
Why don't we? I'm just gonna-
Aksha does, but I thought we couldn't cast spells inside because it could cause problems.
Set that.
there was an assumption made that there might be a way to tell if magic is being casted inside the museum. but I don't believe there was ever confirmation one way or the other.
Correct. Because Aksha can dispel magic. I just didn't know if it was something he should do, because it could cause trouble if it would set off any kind of alarm.
We just try to avoid the steps of the staircase. It's not that big a jump to get down there.
By the time they decide all of this, Kunskap's going to be at the door.
Kunskap's going to be done already. Like, got the box out. Peace, guys.
It's about 25 feet from the top of the stairs to what looks like the bottom of the stairs. Although you're kind of guessing because it's dark down there. It doesn't matter to most of you. Yeah. It's grayscale, but that doesn't affect the distance. Yeah, it's about 25 feet.
Downwards is not jumping, horizontal. So I think Kierna's going to give it a shot because she can't make that much noise when she lands thanks to Scott.
I think Rory will try first. He's going to bend down, look at Aksha, tell him to get on his back.
Ooh.
Oh,
Okay.
Then he's going to press a button right underneath his wrist where the grappling hook is,
Mhm.
and you see, like, those what are those things called? Sugar gliders that have the wings.
Yeah.
You see wings just pop out from under his arms.
I
And
would like to mention that Aksha has wings.
Aksha can fly.
she has wings. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, remember he glided down that
Yeah.
Mhm.
the rooftop to get.
Yes. That leopard.
That's okay. Rory's going for cool factor here. I dig it.
Yeah.
Do it with Gierna. Do it with Gierna. Go ahead.
Yes.
So,
would I be able to? Would I be able to support Gierna or Toby with the blank hook?
what is your strength?
20.
20.
Pretty strong.
Gierna, how much do you weigh? Approximation, if you have an idea.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm going to Google search quickly.
How much does 6 feet of metal weigh?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that you probably could get them up, but I don't know how confident you'd be in your ability to do what you're attempting to do.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
pushing
think
like
it will-
1,000 pounds.
Yeah, I don't think the mechanism will support you and one of them.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just go with Aksha. So he's gonna bit of a running start and then glide down the stairs.
Awesome. I would like you to roll me a. No, I don't think there's any reason to roll this. Yeah, that's fine. It's a little bit of a bumpy ride. You've never done this with anyone on you before, I believe. But yeah, you just sort of glide your way down, and you
Very
land
impressive.
at the bottom of the stairs, near the noticeable spider on the wall.
Well, the spider, while this is all happening, is attempting to see if there's a way to get to the other side of the door through a crack.
Give me one moment, and then I will get to that. So what about the rest of you? So Gierna, are you going to jump it?
Yeah, Gear's gonna take a running jump.
Great.
Okay.
Give me an athletics, and then after that, I need a stealth.
Would I be able to do in athletics to try to catch her just in case?
That's a 26 on athletics.
You don't need to. Okay, and a stealth.
I want you to understand that I rolled a 20 for the athletics and the dex, but because I have disadvantage, I had to roll again.
That's
But that was
crazy.
But that's a 13 on the die plus the 10 from Kunskap. So I think I'm good to go.
Awesome. Yeah. Describe how that looks. Yeah.
So Girna backs up and then she takes off forward, and as she leaps, her cloak billows out behind her into the air, and it's very majestic as she sort of comes lightly as a robot can, crashing down onto the floor, and then does a like a tuck and roll before she pops back up very casually and leans against the wall.
And it's surprising how incredibly like silent that entire process is. You would expect that to make a lot of noise, but thanks to your spidery friend, it did not. Clever. Toby, as Girna lands, you begin to hear voices coming towards the group of you from down the hall. It sounds at least like that guard who had left with the Maliko, but it does seem to be getting closer. So whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna want to do it quick.
Is there room at the bottom for me to land?
You could make it about halfway down the stairs. You're not.
You said they were 5 feet across?
They're like 5 feet wide, but like all the way, like it's a 5 foot wide opening across and like 7 or 8 feet tall, and then it's 25 feet down.
Okay, so Toby is going to attempt to not touch the floor, play the floor as lava with this, and just on the walls the whole way down. He could reach both walls simultaneously. It's 5 feet.
Roll me a Dex Athletics. So if you have, if you're trained in athletics, you'll add your athletics. Yes. So you'll add your proficiency bonus, and you're gonna roll plus your Dex modifier instead of your Strength modifier. I love this. This is so good.
Okay, cool. Hold on. Sorry.
Sure. No problem.
So it's a D20 plus my Dex is. Hold on. No, the athletics bonus. I'm just trying
Can
to
I
make sure.
ask a question real quick, DM?
Yes.
Instead of doing the pawing down the stairs, would it be just an acrobatics check to grab and hop down from side to side on the walls?
I don't think there would be enough clearance for that because Toby is a very large individual, and after leaving one wall, you'd already have to be like facing the other way. So he'd just end up hopping from one, face planting on the next, and tumbling down the stairs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think that would be possible, but vastly more difficult of a roll.
So I'm just trying to figure out what the athletics bump is.
So you use your proficiency bonus,
which is 2 for the
yeah. So you'll have plus 2
proficiency.
Yeah, Dex plus 2 plus a D20.
Dex plus 2 plus a D20.
Yeah.
Got it. It's a 10.
Okay. So you're a little quick to do it. You don't have all the like wind up time and prep that you'd like, and you just sort of like, huh! Huh! And then you go for the third one, and your foot slips, and you manage to kind of like stabilize yourself enough to almost like walk yourself down, but you eventually have to hit the bottom of the stairs, or like you have to hit the stairs because you're gonna fall.
If I see him like about to fall, is there any chance I can try to grappling hook him and pull him towards me?
No, because there's Aksha and Girna between you and Toby, so it just wouldn't really.
Can I throw my cloak down on the stairs so that way he's not actually touching the stairs and see if that makes any difference? Because at this point, he's just gonna hit the stairs.
If you want to, sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all we can do at this point.
Sure, you throw your cloak down, and then Toby, you land on top of Girna's cloak. Yeah. Nothing happens. What's up?
Nothing except.
Yeah. So now that everyone should be able to see it, I want to make sure we're all in the same place.
At basement.
In the hallway. I will request that we don't just randomly move about for this. We're gonna sort of work together to make our way through this. So with that done, I'm going to look back over at Kunskap. I know you had wanted to do something.
I want to try to see if there's a gap in the door, either a keyhole or a small space between the bottom of the door and the floor, or even on the ceiling and the door.
Yeah,
To see
there are all of those things. There is a gap at the top, a gap at the bottom, and there is a keyhole.
So Unskap is going to move underneath the door.
I will move you in. So upon skittering through, you see ahead of you a large room with a carpeted floor in the same sort of silver and blue of Lysanthus that is incredibly like recognizable. The room is well lit. There seem to be two sconces on opposite sides of the wall, but in them is not a fire, at least not a traditional one. There's an orb that seems to be made of glass and some sort of metal, and inside of it is a flickering, what looks like white, almost silverish flame. And it seems to be what's creating the light. Yeah.
Well, my first interest is to turn and look at the door. Is there a unlocking mechanism on this side of the door?
No. I mean, there's a keyhole, but there doesn't seem to be any mechanism to do it. However, since you did, you went under the door, right? You didn't go through the keyhole. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's what you got.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to check the keyhole then, just in case there is something I can do from in there.
Sure. In the meantime, Jeff, I know you said you were going to say something.
The door is locked, I'm guessing.
Are you trying it?
Yeah, slowly.
Yeah. Doorknob turns. Door is not locked. I believe you can interact with it on the map, so you should be able to open the door just by clicking on the little door icon. Yeah, the door is open, and so Kunskap, you sort of like skitter your way up the door, and as you're getting close to the locking mechanism, and the whole door just sort of swings open.
I do it slowly because I know he's on the other side.
Sure.
Do I see him?
You don't see them, but you do now have entry to the room because they're on the other side of the door.
Kunskap will skitter along the side and just stare at Rory from the.
Just gonna nod at Kunskap and walk inside.
The group of you can move up to your speed as you will. Again, you get in, and the first thing, Rory, you definitely would probably notice this immediately is the sconces with this light. Yeah.
It's a piece of is it a piece of cursite or is it something powered by
No,
cursite?
it's definitely not cursite. Cursite is always red. No matter what you do with it, cursite is always red. That's like the hard rule for cursite. This is something else. It's just this sort of silvery white flame inside of this orb.
Kunskap is going to use the ceiling as their floor as they move around the building.
Sure.
So what do I recognize it from? Is it just?
Well, you don't recognize it. It's just it pulls your attention. It's something that I believe Rory would immediately be interested in. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Very blatantly seems magic, yeah.
What?
Very blatantly seems like magic.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, it is definitely magic.
Okay.
Kunskap just hangs from the ceiling, waiting for the rest of their companions to choose a direction.
Can I start ritual casting detect magic?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
I take out my device, put it on my eye, hold the hand thing, and start looking around.
Yeah, and it's going to take a while for it to sort of boot up, kind of. It has to,
does anyone see our target?
Not at the moment.
I was not sure which direction or room we were. They said one big room.
Kunskap is going to start skittering in this direction.
Certainly. you can move up to your speed if you'd like. Moving into this room, you see more of
Anna will
the
follow.
sure. You see
Mhm.
more of the sconces, as well as bookshelves that are stocked with books and scrolls and what look like other small sort of trinkets, and a table upon which is more of these scrolls, just sort of some left out, clearly very old and aging and being worked on. Others are clearly very like fancy. They're like inset with gold tubing. Others are in like leather sleeves. This seems to be sort of a like main archives room, if you had to guess.
With my 20 feet of movement, I will continue to move in a direction. Is there anything in this direction?
There's a door.
Kunskap is going to try to go underneath this door.
Give me one moment. I want to see what the rest of the party's going to do, and then we'll resolve that.
Can
Following the spider can stop.
yeah, I
Does
think
the-
sticking together makes sense.
Does the detect magic start showing anything?
It's 10 minutes, right? You're going to need a little bit of time,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah,
You're casting as a ritual, so it's a 10-minute.
And
Yeah.
the term is arachnoscop.
Arachnoscop.
Or arachnosoaker would also work.
Could Aksha, looking at these lamps, could Aksha do an arcane check on them to see if he has any knowledge of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that was a fail.
What is that in
A
total?
6.
A
A
six.
6.
Yeah, no. It's odd because it strikes you as just barely being familiar. Maybe it's something you saw once when your master took you somewhere, or maybe they told you about it once or something. But besides,
slips
there's
my
nothing. Yeah.
Oh, Aksha, no, seen these before.
Anything that anyone else wants to do before Arachno Shoka progresses?
Don't think so. Can we barely see, probably because it's like we can see like the hall all the way down the other way, right?
Yes, and you can see that it ends in this large sort of double like metal door.
Okay, so it seems like doors on this side or doors on that side. All right.
Yeah, and then there's
Oh.
also two. No, yeah, that's all you would be able to see.
Did someone shut the door behind us?
I mean, I assume someone would have.
No one did.
Rory would have if no one else did.
Okay,
It's fair.
He was the last out of the room, so.
yeah, that's fine.
I just want to try the door handle and see if it opens like the other doors did. Or the door, rather.
Oh yeah, absolutely it does. You can go ahead and open it if you'd like.
Achieved another room.
Yeah, moving into the next room, you see what looks like more of these scrolls and books laid out. There's a lot of tools that have been laid out. Clearly, this is sort of a restoration room, if you had to guess. There's books that seem like they've been rebound, but what stands out most is not on the far table, but instead the table to the right, where there's all kinds of interesting trinkets and crowns. There's a bracer, a silver chalice. There's a box that seems sort of like a just a strange looking box, and next to it, an open box inside of which sits this yellow, maybe orangish sort of square cut gem. And beside that is a statue. The statue is of a humanoid figure, though with some strange features. It stands over holding what looks like a small six-sided cube, and it has long flowing hair and sort of a bovine nose and mouth with sort of curvature up, and these long ears that sort of turn over on themselves and come down towards their shoulders to a point. Yes, Jeff.
That's the thing I.
It does. It does look recognizable to
Okay.
you. Yes. Beside that, give me one moment. Beside the opposite from where the tools have been laid out is a bag. And out of that bag have been scattered small bits of, you're not sure what. It seems off white. And they seem to have things carved on them, though you'd have to get closer to inspect it.
Kuhnskop will use their web from the ceiling to slowly come down onto the table and start checking out this stuff.
You immediately
when he gets
recognize.
close,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Rory's probably going to say, I have a feeling some of these might be magical. My device is still starting up. If we want to give it a second, I can make sure they're safe to go near.
So, Kunskap, as you get closer, as Bury says that, you recognize the carvings on these pieces. They're runes. They're like the runes that you have.
What do they signify?
There's a bunch, and they signify different things. In fact, it probably is the same collection of them that you have on your person. Well, had on your person before becoming a spider.
Kuhnskop is going to like fall next to this statue and then like point with one of their many now legs
Across at the bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's pointing at the statue or the bag.
The runes.
Yeah, that's on that are scattered out of the bag. Yeah.
Does my device start up yet? We can say, or
yeah.
a
So
little bit.
at just about this point, with a very soft whirring sound, and a little bit of a clicking, the one by one, the little like eyeglass pieces sort of fall into frame. You get a little bit of like an orange glow off of the gem near Girna. You also
What's orange again?
give me a moment. I'll go through it. I'll go through it with you. There is also a bit of blue sort of shading around the silvery box towards the back of the table, and red just sort of rolling off of the lights in the room. So orange is transmutation. Blue is conjuration, and red is evocation.
So, and the statue and runes don't have any magic on them.
The statue and runes do not seem to have any inherent magic.
Okay.
Actually, just sorry, one moment, just to double check. Kunskap, for the runes, would they innately have divination magic?
If they were created by my people, yes.
Then the runes do have divination magic coming off of them. That's yellow.
Yeah, lying around those runes for somebody to grab them.
So you're just sort of like skittering around them, trying to like draw attention.
Rory moves over to them, pick them up, hold up one leg for yes, two for no. Okay. He puts them in the sack and puts in his satchel, and does the same for the statue and what were the other things there? I know you
Rena would
said
actually like to pick up the box because she's curious.
The box with the gem in it or the silvery box?
The silver box.
Yeah, these are very
Uh,
obviously not the box that we're looking for.
as she reaches for that, that has some conjuration magic on it. Be careful with it, I would say.
Puts it back down.
And you said there was a crown and a bracelet.
Yeah, if you look on the table on the map, Kunskap, I'm going to move you just for one moment.
Oh.
I'm going to try to.
But
Why can't I move you? Be God. Okay. So if you look on the table, there's like a silvery crown thing. There's a like silver bracer. There's a golden bracer. There's like a black, what looks like almost iron sort of headpiece. There's a pendant. There's the chalice, and then just a roll of tools that is reasonable to assume is for cleaning, restoring, or otherwise manipulating.
You said there was a dice, or was I thinking?
No, there's the statue of the person. The statue that you're grabbing has like a what looks like a cube, but there's no like.
Oh, cube. Okay.
Yeah.
This box over here. That
This has the gem, that has the transmutation aura, and this over here has the conjuration.
do either of them look like the box that Rory has?
No.
Okay.
Question, Toby.
Yes.
So you are kind of hanging back, but you're watching as these allies of yours sort of, well, Rory, at least for now, has begun pocketing things off this table.
Mm. I'm not necessarily just watching them because I'm also scanning over these two tables, which seems to just be like a whole bunch of books and stuff.
Yes.
And I've also glanced, is this like over in the other direction opposite the table? Is this a hallway of sorts?
It is, yes.
So I can't really see down the hallway right now, but it's also, this place is very suspicious. Everybody has their back to the hallway. So I don't think it's a good idea. So I'm the person who's more like, I'm going to look that way.
my
just in
eyes
case.
are everywhere.
Yes, but you are small enough that I can't see you right now.
Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna pocket the runes and the statue, and I'm gonna turn to Kunsap. Is there anything else you want to pick up? Yes, no.
In the meantime, before you answer that, Toby, you said you were looking down that hallway.
Yes.
I would like you to
Because-
roll me a perception check.
Sure. A 19.
19. That's really good. Toby, so as you're looking down that hallway, you can't see particularly well. Even in grayscale, it's just kind of a hallway, but you catch what seems like a flash of movement at the end of it and whatever lies beyond, just for a moment. Kind of like the flicker of a shadow.
And everybody else is still by the table, right? Or on the table.
Well, Aksha seems to be down by the table near you,
Okay.
Yes.
but the other three are by the
Is
table.
Aksha looking at the table, or is Aksha like looking in the similar direction that I am?
Aksha's just kind of looking around, but he's not really interested in the items on the table because it's not what he's there for.
So as this happens,
So, yeah.
Toby's gonna reach down with like one arm on Aksha's shoulder, like grabbing you, like,
Ooh.
did Did you see that?
See? Is there something?
As soon as Brory says something, Kunskap is going to go back up to the ceiling and start skittering in that direction. Do you wish me to roll a stealth?
Say that again.
As soon as Toby says something, Kunskap is going to go back up to the ceiling and start skittering in that direction. Do you want me to roll stealth?
If you're trying to do it stealthily, yes.
Well,
Can Aksha see down the hallway with his dark vision? Well,
You. So I believe your dark vision should be set up. Let me double check real quick. I believe it's set up so you can kind of see into the hallway a bit. Like if you from where you are, the vision that you have should permit you to see what's going on there. You don't see anything down that hallway though.
Aksha doesn't see anything.
Kunskap, what did you get?
16.
16. Okay. You believe that you are cloaked in the shadows of the ceiling.
Can I smell anything?
I'm going to keep going down in that direction.
Sure. You can roll me a perception. I believe as an earth sign, you have bonuses for smelling things. Is that correct? You have keen senses? I forget.
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. No,
Not
you're right.
listed anyway.
No,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
So
I rolled
just
a 9 for perception.
Okay, you rolled a 9. And Toby, did you roll?
No, not yet. I'm about to right now.
Sure.
22.
Ooh.
Nice.
So Toby, there is the very faintest whiff of earthiness here. It's hard to tell at first because there's so many old things around you that there's that very noticeable, distinct old smell, the smell of old books, the smell of old trinkets, the smell of like leather having been worked. A lot of these very, very distinguished, like noticeable smells that sort of cloud the air. But there's another very unique sort of earthiness underlying all of it. It's faint. But it does seem to be coming from the other side of the hole.
We may not be alone down here.
Now I know, Kunskap, you said you were going down this hallway. What about Aksha, Rory, Girno? What are the three of you doing?
Can I make a history history check on the box with the gem and the silver box? Or would that be better for Arcana?
Well, you would probably be better off with an Arcana check.
Okay.
Okay. Nothing about them strikes you as particularly as something that you've learned about or read about or studied. But you do notice at least that the silver box towards the back has grooves in it that sort of break it up into sort of sections or pieces. Almost like maybe a puzzle box. Girno, what about you?
On there being a sign of movement, or at least, Toby saying there is, Girna immediately moves to the other side of the room, gets by the door, so that way she can be between her companions and whatever might come through the hallway.
Okay. And Aksha?
Aksha is going to move a little closer to see if he can see any more down the hallway.
Sure. So Aksha, you and Kunskap, and Toby, the three of you, can all see past the hallway down towards the other end, hanging on the wall directly facing that hallway, is a painting. It, if we're being honest, doesn't seem very good, but it's a painting. It's at least the attempt of a painting to capture the visage of a young woman. If you'd like, the three of you could all roll me history checks to see if maybe you would know who this is. Kunskap, you're going to have disadvantage.
What was the check?
History.
History.
10 for Kunskap.
Toby.
I got another 22.
Ooh, and Aksha.
Nice.
And a 20.
Very, very nice. Okay.
Although, even with this, I'm going to point out, if this has some historical significance to this area, Toby still won't know it.
Okay, cool. Then I applaud that. You know what? I'm going to give you inspiration for pointing that out. Actually, well done.
Oh.
So I don't. Do you remember how inspiration works?
No.
Great. So when you have inspiration, you can cash it in at any time that you'd like to re-roll any die.
Got it.
Yeah.
So this could be a thing of maybe Toby has seen this before elsewhere, but still would not know significance.
Sure. Yeah. I think definitely Toby will recognize it, but Toby will not like know what it is. Just, oh, I've seen that before. Now Aksha, you know that this is a rather prominent figure in the history of Lysantis. It was one of the priests of the Sapientism, the religion that operates out of the Dominastica and has played a huge role in the growth of Lysantis, both financially and culturally. A woman by the name of Grand Priestess Madan, Madan. She is most well known for some of the more modern concepts that were brought into Sapientism, sort of bringing it a little more in line with the outside world, and played a very large role in convincing the Lysantian High Council to work out more involved interactions with the Doorwind guilds, which are the major trading guilds that operate throughout Orzadama. You've never seen this particular painting before, but there's probably a bunch of them. If it's here, likely it has some kind of historical significance, but you wouldn't really be sure exactly what.
Okay.
Now, Unskap,
Yes.
what are you doing? Or what are any of you doing?
Kunskap's going to keep going down this hallway
Ooh.
on the ceiling.
Okay, so Kunskap, you're skittering your way into this room, and real quick. Excellent. So you're skittering your way into this room, and as you do, you find there are quite a number of paintings lining the walls in here, as well as a few busts to the nearer end of the room for you, actually. A lot of these paintings don't strike you as particularly interesting in any way, shape, or form until you come across one. And if you give me a moment, I'm going to share it with you all. This one painting sort of stands out to the group of you. Well, to you, Kunska. Something about it seems familiar. It's almost like a memory that you can't seem to grasp at. One that you know you have, but it's just on the edges of your mind. And
Can I roll a history check or something?
you could try, absolutely.
$11.
No, it's so close, but it's out of grasp. Every time you close your fingers around it, it just sort of slips through again. It's not there.
So,
But
while this is happening, Toby is gonna take a couple steps back to double back to Rory, just to verify, like, hey, everyone else is going down this hallway, and if you found something here, good, take it or leave it, because we should stick together.
I just need to check one thing. He's gonna walk over to the table at the bottom and just see if there. I want to see if there's just anything related to the statue, the runes, and the silver box. If there's anything that's open or visible that pertains to them.
sure, you can roll me a perception check.
Would investigation be better?
Yes. Yeah, you can roll me an investigation check. Absolutely.
Okay, and I'm gonna
Okay.
stick right next to Rory this whole time while not taking my eyes off of this hallway.
Okay, so Burr, you're gonna take a couple of minutes, sort of looking through these books. Are you like flipping through pages, or are you just kind of like scanning what's open to see, or like
Pretty
titles?
much
Or
what's opened. If there's like any covered, if there's like titles of the books that are visible, I'll check those. But just
Okay.
a quick.
Before any of my friends come down this hallway, do I know what these statues are at the bottom?
No, they're busts of people, but you know the one in the center. The bust in the center is the person who you saw upstairs. Well, not them themselves, but the one of the more prominently featured people within some of the exhibits. It is very clearly a bust of Saint Denvella. However, you took some time, clearly distracted by this painting that caught your attention and sort of tugged at you, and then saw behind you this bust, and then you hear it, sort of a skittering sound, scratching against the stone ceiling, and sort of beginning to wind around you is this large,
Say that.
almost centipede-looking creature. About it's like the size of a large snake, like a constrictor, fat, and it just sort of chitters as it starts to envelop you with its large body. And there is where we're going to leave things for next time. Thank you so much to my amazing players. Thank you all for being here for this incredible episode. Thank you to our viewers, for everyone who has hung out in the chat, everyone who has been a part of this. We always love to see y'all. We'll be back next week with another episode of Dice Trays Action, and you'll be able to catch us on Thursday at 8 p.m. EST with Rhaegar, Shadow of the Dragon. Real quick, if anyone, let's go around, tell people who you are, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Joe.
It's me. It's Joe. It's Toby. And oh my God, let's not die. Join us next time. This was lots of fun.
Jeff.
I'm Jeff. I'm Rory. We're probably gonna die. It's gonna be fun.
No.
Jen.
I'm Aksha, and Aksha is like, whoa, big giant bug. We're in trouble.
The Eye.
Coonscop is like chitter chitter, skitter skitter.
And okay, who I just realized now won't last both times, so you'll be first next time when we do introduction.
I'm Kay. I'm Girna, and I don't have any raid, so it's gonna be a problem.
Okay, yeah. Join us next time. Thank you again. We love you all, and don't forget to tell your tales. Take care.